What's up, coding rabbits, and welcome to live coding with rabbitwerks JavaScript. My name is Sean, and it is a pleasure to be here with you as always. And looks like the nerdy dev has joined us in the chat. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Appreciate the view. And so yeah, basically this project is FullStack Auth from scratch, a rendition or kind of like a whatever the word is, rendition of the Coding Gardens project, which you can find the link for in the description below. Basically just goes through how to do a registration, login, sign up thing, full stack from scratch. Yeah, this is episode 6, and we're going to continue where we left off last week. And so last week we got our form, basically our form built out for a register view, right? So I actually have the server spinning up running right now. Let's open that and take a look. Okay, so okay, so I have, make that a little bigger. Yeah. So I noticed that we had an issue with the styling. Obviously that is the issue. So I want to see what's going on with that really quick, because these should be taking up 100% the width. So I kind of want to figure out what's going on with that. And then so what we're going to work on tonight is we're going to finish up this form, and we're going to get basically a submit button worked out, and then we're going to get our method written to communicate with backend and potentially register a user. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and let's get started. Okay. Excuse me. Let's see. Oh, I lost my chat window. Oh, because it's over here. Hold on a second. There we go. Cool. Oh, okay. So let's, before we go any further into the code, I want to figure out what's going on with the styling here. These should be taking up 100% of the width available input with the 100%. So I'm curious as to what's going on. My thought is that this container holding, or the form itself, isn't taking up the full size that we wanted to. So let's see. I'm looking in the dev tools. Oh, it's a heartburn. Oh. Form. Maybe that is taking up the full size. Okay, it looks like the form is taking up the full size, and the divs are taking up so the input groups are taking up the full size. But for whatever reason, these are only doing that size. So I wonder if we just set this to flex 1. What is going on with this? That's that. Okay, that's good. Input group. Oh, let's see. Input group. Okay, so I want to target this input group because we have the the input group holds the label and the input. So let's target that input dash group, and I'm gonna just say width of 100% just to see what that gives me. Oh, I don't need this semicolon there. There we go. That's kind of not really getting, not quite. I wonder why these inputs won't. Input group. Okay, so that's taking up the full size now. Okay, so now we just need to get this form group to do so. Oh, let's just put back our width of 100% on this right here, just like that. There we go. Cool. And what I was thinking is that, I don't know, this looks funny. I don't want to do that because then it goes like that. We'll probably just set it as disabled. Let's see, register.vue. What's up, Joshua? He was able to join in, and looks like we have Mahendra Chaudhary joined in from Coding Garden with CJ. Thanks so much for tuning in, dude. Appreciate it. Okay, so we got that styling worked out. Now I just need to figure out what I want to do with this password. I want to change it a little bit. I think instead of vshow, I just want to bind to, like we had last week, probably just bind to the disabled attribute and toggle that based on if this is true. So just delete that. And okay, so I'm gonna vbind to the disabled attribute, and we're gonna write in an expression here. Let's see. So we want new user dot pass dot length is, oh my god, that was really loud. What the hell? Jeez. Exit Steam for now. Sorry about that. Okay, so new user dot pass dot length is greater than 5, then we want that to be true, right? So I think, oh, it's backwards. So if oh yeah, it needs, so if it's, we don't want it to be, if it's less than 5, we want it to be disabled, right? Okay, yeah. So cool. I like that better because then it doesn't jump around on the inputs as much. So we're gonna go with that for this project, and we got the display of the inputs fixed, so they're taking up the full size there. Okay, cool. So now that we have that finished, let's move on to what we were going to get, what we need to do to finish up this feature. And what we need right now is a submit button. So right under here, and it's going to still be inside of our form. So let's see, what is this div right here? I just want to check. I'm going to collapse this form input group. Okay, so this div is for the password input group. Okay, so I'm going to create a new div, and I'm going to give it the class, excuse me, of actions panel. Actions panel, yeah. And also we're going to give it the class of xbx to apply flexbox to it from my flexbox utility library, which you can find the link to in the description as well. It just doesn't have the shorthands for the flex gap. I need to push the updated code to that, so it does have the long versions of the flex gap. Okay, so inside of this div, we're going to create a new input, right? And so this one is going to be a submit input, right? Input submit. There we go. Oh, jeez. I'm just going to type it out. Submit. And then we want to give that a class of button, and we'll give it a class of call to action. So CTA primary. The value, whoops, value we want it to just say register, like that. So we're getting somewhere right now. We're gonna have to apply some styles to this in just a second here, but let me just scaffold this out really quick. Neat. Okay, so we're also going to be running a method on here, so we'll need a click listener. But before we do that, let's give our button some styles here. So we can run into we're going to go into the main CSS because we're going to create these two classes that we're going to write are going to be kind of like globally accessible. So we want them to be able to be used everywhere. So we'll probably, let's go underneath the view. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm just going to put it underneath the view, and we'll just do a button class and give this button some initial styling. And okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna set, first we're gonna set it just to make sure that it is block, because I believe buttons by default are inline block. So we're just gonna make sure it's display block, and we'll give it a custom or a fixed width of 10 rem, so it'll be 200 pixels wide. We're also gonna give it a set height, and we're gonna match what our inputs are, so it'll be like 2.5 rem, I believe that's what they're set at. Oh, no, that's a little big. What do we have them at? 2 rem. So just 2 rem in this. There we go. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to give our button the font family that we have used across the app, the veneer that actually comes default with Vue. And like inputs, you also have to set the, or for the submit button, you also have to set the text or the font family manually. It defaults to like whatever it is, like Helvetica or Arial, I'm not sure. Can't remember. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna bump up the font size a little bit. Font size, we'll do 1.2 rem. Oops. I can type 1.2 rem. All right. It might be a little big actually. We're gonna bring it down to 1.1. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, so next we want to give our button some border radius, so we'll just say border radius. And again, our standard is the 3 pixel throughout the application. And then we also want to give it, just give it that cursor pointer style as well. Even though we have a pointer class, we're going to use, just apply that right there automatically, so we don't have to clutter up our HTML with an additional style, class name, whatever. Okay, so next thing we're going to want to do in this, we're going to want to get our call to action style going. So it's not going to be too much. We're just going to apply some colors to it essentially. So CTA -- primary for the call to action that we're writing, and then we just want to have I'm going to set the background color, and so what do we name that in here? We're going to use our CSS roots. So app background color, what is it? We're going to do the font main, see how that looks. So I'm just going to copy that, and then we can type in bar and pass in this CSS variable right there. So that gives it that, and then we'll give it set a border on it. So we'll do border, and it'll be the var border size, and then we also want to do var, and we're just going to set the color here. So we'll just set it as, I think we're just going to run with the light version of it. Yeah, so let's go with that. Okay, so the font color light, we can take that and pass it into the var function right here. Cool, so it just kind of gives it a little bit of definition. And you can see that it's asking us, we need to fill out that form if we want to submit it, because we have the required attribute on the input itself. Okay, so just to kind of spice things up a little bit, I just want to give a little bit of a hover state for the call to action primary. And what I want to do is just bump the font size up ever so slightly. We'll do 1.2 rem and see how that works. And then What else do we want to change? Let's do, so when we hover over it, I'm going to have the border highlight to the white color. So we'll set border. We can actually just copy this whole line right here so we don't have to type it out all over again. And it's going to be, I believe it's called, yeah, font color white. That's what we're going to run with here. And then the last thing we want to do just to make it smooth is we're going to set our transition on the CTA primary. So transition, and we'll just do all. It's 0.3 seconds. Ease in, out. And I don't think we need to set it forwards because it's gonna go back to what it wanted to, or it's gonna stay at the state that it's at. So it kind of gets, the font gets a little bigger, and you can see the border kind of glows in. So it's, I don't know, adds a little something to it. All right, cool. So we got that. Now let's go back into our register.view component, and we can actually start writing out this method in order to send this this input, the data from our inputs, to the backend, right? Oh man. All right, so let's first start by coming back to this input. And we want to use the @ shorthand for the von directive. So we'll just listen for a click, right? And inside of here, or actually before we do that, we want to do click.prevent. And what that does, this is a modifier in Vue, and what that does is .prevent essentially is the equivalent of event.prevent default. So when you click a submit button, usually it refreshes the page, and so we're preventing that default behavior using this prevent modifier right here. There's other modifiers and stuff that are built into Vue for stuff like this too. So you can also do like lazy for when you do vModel, so it only updates after the inputs are all finished, you know, or after it's done taking input, it'll update the data property versus doing it per character change or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so let's give this method a name. We'll just say attempt registration, like that. Did I spell it right? Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so we don't want it in data. Underneath data, we're going to open up our methods object, just like that. And inside of here, we're going to write that attempt registration method. Registration, like that. Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do is, I mean, we could do this.newUser.firstname, this.newUser.this.newUser. But I think what we're going to do is destructure this new user object so we can just kind of target the individual variable names, property names. So we don't have to type this.newUser over and over and over again. So we will do that. We can destructure it by saying const, and then object inside of here, we will have all the properties we want to pull out of the new user object. So last name, username, user class, email confirm, pass, and also pass confirm. Okay, and then we just say equals this dot new user. Cool. So now we can use these properties as if they were their own standalone thing instead of having to type this dot new user, which will really help clean up our code. So okay, so what we want to do first thing is we want to make sure that each of these fields has, we're going to validate that each of these fields has data in it. So what we'll say is we'll write an if statement, and if we can actually open it up because this is going to be a little bit long on this. So we'll say if first name, and so we want it to we want all the fields to be there. So we're going to check to make sure everything is in, or everything has a value inside of it, each field or property. And username, user class, and email confirm, and last but not least, we need to do pass confirm. Cool. So what we're going to do is, if all of these fields or all of these values exist, then we're going to want to move on to the next step. If not, let's see, where is it? Right here. Okay, so if not, let's just write an else statement for this, and then we can come back through and like make an actual error or whatever if you wanted to do that. But for now, we'll just console log. Let's just leave a comment so we know, and let's just say missing input fields. Right. It's so strange not having music playing. Okay. So let's just console log right here, console.log, and then pass in all fields are required. So we wouldn't even really be able to get this far because it's not going to let us even submit it without the thing, but just in case, we're going to cover all our bases. Okay, so we got the else statement for that part. Now inside of the true conditional part, if it is true, now we're going to actually just check that the email matches the email confirm, and that the password matches the password confirm. So we're going to first write another if statement in here. So if email triple equals email confirm, then next we want to check is if I guess we could do it in the same one, but I think I'm going to do it like this. If pass triple equals pass confirm, open that up. Okay, so then we're going to have our else for the email if the emails don't fit, right? So we'll just write another console log here for now. We'll just say emails do not match. And then also we want to do another else statement right above that for the if statement, checking if the pass is equal to the pass confirm. So inside of here, we'll write another console log. Passwords do not match. Cool. All right, cool. So now that we have all of those taken care of, the next thing we want to do is we are going to essentially just create a new user object, because we don't need to hold on to the email confirm and the email and the pass confirm. So we can just create a new validated new user object, and we're going to be able to pass in just first name, last name, username, user class, email, and password. We don't need the confirms for either of those fields. So we'll say const validated new user, and that's going to be, make sure we don't have any typos. Oop. Don't forget this equals sign either, right? Okay, cool. Oh, geez, Louise, everything's breaking. Okay, so inside of here, we're going to have just set our properties. So first name, last name, not label, last name, username, user class, email, and pass. Cool. All right, so that's what we need to do for that. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we're actually going to bring in, let's see, I don't think we have it brought in yet. Nope. Okay, so what we used on the back end to validate and against a schema for credentials, registration credentials, essentially was we brought in the package Joy, and we can also bring it in. We can also use it on the front end, so we're going to do that as well, just so we can have consistency across everything. And I might have touched on this last episode, but so we'll handle that now. And okay, so we can look at all this. Go down to the bottom of the console here. Actually, I'm going to dupe screen it. Okay, so what we want to do, make sure you're seeding it into the right folder, and I'll say npmi, and then we do @happy, and then joy. Kind of like installing the Vue CLI, you got to do @vue/CLI, because there's a lot of different things that you can download at the Vue npm package or whatever. So that's gonna do its thing. I'm actually gonna run and grab some water really quick. I'll be right back. Pour back. This is you get for $20. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so basically what we're doing here at this point is we're going to okay, so we brought in Joy. We need to bring in our schema from the backend. We're just going to copy it in because we want to use the same one. Right? So, let's see. Okay, so that's actually, we got to go to the server, source, auth, index, and this guy, or gal, whatever you want to call it, I guess. Okay, we don't need to be in there anymore. So actually right at the top above our Vue instance here, so inside the script tag but not inside of our Vue instance, the export default object there. What we want to do is I'm going to paste that in there, so now we could target that and use it. But we also need, when we're doing the front end, I think it's given us an error here, so Joy is not defined. We need to import it. There's something we got to also include in our schema for when we work with Joy on the front end. Okay, so import Joy from, oops, Joy from @happy joy. Cool, just like that. Now this should be valid if we give it a refresh. Okay, so right here you can see this error, uncaught error, built in top level domain list is disabled. So what this is, why this is erroring out on the front end, is because when you install when you install Joy for a front end project, essentially it determines which build. It's a little bit of a different build. You can see that it's joybrowser.min. So it's a smaller package, so they don't include the top level domain list by default in the front end delivery of this package, whereas the backend, it has that included automatically, so you don't need to include it. But in order to include this, we can just pass in right here. Okay, so after the min domain segments, we're going to say what is it? Allow, I think it was, and then give it an object, and it'll be TLDS, which is an array of strings. If my type. And then it should be like .com. I don't know if we have to put the dot in there. I have to double check. Unknown keys allow. Allow is not the right one. Let's check and see. I can't remember off the top of my head. Joy built-in top-level domain list. Oops. So this is a Stack Overflow question I found across it. Oh, I have it backwards. Okay, so it's TLDS here. So top-level domains, and then we'll have the allow here, and you can also have like a block parameter as well if you want to deny certain top level domains and stuff. And it doesn't look like we need the dot either, so we can just delete that. So we'll just do .com and net, and I don't know if it'd be like co.uk. I don't know if that's necessary either, but we could probably import a list of the common ones fairly easily. Oh wait, let me see. Yeah, so it's an array of strings, and then I want to do IO and tech. Cool. So these, if somebody tries to register with a top level domain that isn't one of these, then it won't work, or it won't accept it essentially. I know I'm missing some. I mean, you could do like .edu or .gov or anything like that, but depending on, you just probably want to import a list of a predetermined list of this and just pass it in here instead of the hard-coded array like this. I don't know. So I'm not sure how big the top level domain list in the the back end of the Joy is. Okay, so we have that. We can use it now, and what we want to do is come back down here to where we have this new where we're creating our new user object, and we're going to next make sure we're going to validate this against our new schema. So I'm just going to leave a note, Joy validation. Cool. So we can do that by saying what is it? Validated. Oh no, it's register. Yeah, register schema dot validate, and then we're gonna pass in the the validated new user. Yeah. Okay. So validated new user, pass in like that, and then so this is a promise, and so we can .then it and say result. Arrow function console.log the result. See what we got there. All right, let's see if we're working still here. And then should have autocomplete attributes. Okay. So yeah, you don't want to set up like autocomplete attributes if you want to be able to like click and autocomplete stuff. I mean, as far as the warning is concerned, just so that's like actually on there. Okay, so let's see now. Let's just I mean, I don't want to use test. I'm gonna just copy this. Everything's gonna be test just because I want it. It's easy to type. Test at test. Oops. At test. Oops. Test.com. And then we'll do ABC 1 2 3 ASD 1 2 3. I mean, all right. So let's see what this gives us now. And then we'll also want to make sure that we handle the error for this. So actually, we'll just do dot catch right here, just so we have it taken care of already. What is it? Console.log the error. All right, cool. So let's see. Excuse me. Now what we want to do is, let's run this now. I'm just gonna put in my stuff just for the heck of it. That'll be my username. Rabbit. ASD123, best password in the whole universe. Register. What does it say? Register validate.then is not a function. What? Okay, let me try. Then is not a function. It just keeps giving me trouble because they changed up a bunch of stuff. Let me try. Let me try the old syntax. So instead of register schema, I'm gonna type in joy. Validate the new user against the register schema. Does that work? No. Wait. All fields are required. Nope, that's not it either. Weird. I don't understand this. Here, let me see. Go back to that. Let's go check out the docs. Happy joy validate. June 8th, 2018. Oh man, ouch. Back. It's hurting me today. Joy. This package has been deprecated. See happy joy. Okay, where's that one? I need happy joy. Not happy /joy. There it is. Okay, so let's take a look at the documentation. We can make this a little bigger, maybe. No, it doesn't really make it that much bigger. I hope everyone can read that. All right, it's okay. All right, so let's see. We need to look at object. Let's just look for validate. Value being validate. Any dot validate value options. Okay, so why is it not running for us then? So any dot validate register schema dot validates a value using the current schema and options, where value is the value being validated. Options and optional options object with the following keys. Errors, language. Why is this scrolling down? Stop. Let's keep scrolling back up. It's really annoying. Register schema that validate. I think. Hello. Oh, it's coding guard with CJ. What's up, dude? I think you need schema dot validate async for it to return the promise. Oh, that's probably Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I was actually just getting to that too, so. Okay, let's give that a try. Validate async. All right. Okay, let's take a look and see what that gives us now. So if we come in here and do it again, ASD123, ASD123, and then pass is not allowed. Validation error. Okay, so it ran. Okay, cool. Excellent. But why is it telling me that that's not? Oh, because it's called password here. There we go. Oh, let's try it one more time. Register. All right, cool. We got it. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so now that we have our validated our user object, essentially, now we can send it to the backend to run again, or we could send it to our backend route for registering a new user to hit our database. So for now, what I'm going to do is we're just going to write it inside of here, and then once we get the login feature finished, then we can take those two main functions in the front end and we'll just put it inside of we'll bring it into Vuex and handle everything inside of there, because we'll want to store our returned information from the back end, depending on if we're registering a user or if we're logging in. We want to store that in the global state store like Vuex instead of having it pieced together in different components. Okay, so before we do that, we need to write our fetch request to send this stuff to the back end. All right, so we can do that. Inside of the right here. So instead of console logging inside of the .then statement, we're going to actually open this up. Actually, I'm going to start by making an object. There we go. Okay. And inside of here, we're going to write our fetch request. Oh no, I don't want to add that to last pass. Okay, so we'll just say fetch, and the back end was at, so it's just running at localhost, speaking of which we should probably spin that up. Let's say cd server. You should map password pass in the new user or it will fail on the back end. Oh, that's a good point. I could probably just so would I just map it here? Then map pass, it'll fail on the back end. So because this is different, this should be password because we want it to match the backend schema. So we'll set that back to password there, and then let's see. Validated new user. So I want to map map this to a new where password is pass, or password is pass, essentially. We change pass to password. So it'd be what? Let's see. So let's see. Validated the new user dot map, and let me check really quick. Hold on a second. Map. It's been a while since I actually used the map function. Oh, Python map function. Yeah, okay. I just need to see an example of it because I'm drawing a blank. That's an array. Oh, I see what you're saying. I gotcha. That makes sense. I was thinking map with an array. I was confused on that because it's an object, so we don't want to do that. We're going to just go like this. Okay. All right, cool. I think that matches email, so that should be good to go now. Okay. Cool. So we want to send it to our backend now, and let's just do it in backticks for the time being, and we can say HTTPS or HTTP, because it's not local host, and that's running at 1337, and it's going to be auth/register. And then we have to pass in an options object and make sure that we spin up our backend too. So npm run dev. Oop. Shoot. How do I get out of this? Okay, so all right, so it's up and running on port 1337. I just want to double check that that's the actual route. Yeah, register. So we need to make sure that it's a post request because we're sending information over the wire. Let's see, app.js. Yeah, okay. Okay, so cool. So what we want to do is inside of here, we want to give it, here, 1 second. Okay, we'll give it, so the method option, we're going to set it as post, just like that, and then we want to give it a headers object, and inside of here we just want to make sure that we're passing in the content type is application/JSON. All right, cool. And then the last thing we want to do inside of this fetch request is we're going to actually pass the body in, or pass our validated new user into the body. Well, we got to stringify it as well. So new JSON.stringify, just like that, and we'll pass in the validated new user. Cool. All right, so that should be all we have to do to get that fetch request sent over to the front end. Oop, doesn't like that. That's not what I need there. Oh, because it's an object. All right, so let's give it a shot. Clear the console and fill out our form. And if we click register, we should be able to see that. Well, we'll get to request right here because of volleyball, and then we'll see what happens. I can't remember if it's returning anything yet on the back end to the front end. So we can say, I might have to dump the database to, yeah, I think I will. I'll do rabbit1. Oh crap, I need to set up cores as well on the back end to allow for this local host. Shoot. Okay, so let's go do that really quick. All right, app.js. Okay, so back on the back end, we need to bring in the cores library so we can set which incoming requests we want to accept stuff from. Okay, so if we take a look at that, we'll go to npm and look up their cores package here. All right, so Cores is a Node.js package for providing a Connect Express middleware that can be used to enable Cores with various options. This is a Node.js module available to the npm registry. We just run npm install Cores to get it running, and then we can just bring it in as a required in as a variable, and we just run it as a middleware. And then that should, okay, so yeah, simple usage enables all Cores requests. So it'll accept incoming requests from any origin. So we're going to go about it like that for now. And in here, let's do cd server to that, and we can just say npm I Cores. Cool. Okay, so that's in there. Now we're going to bring Cores in. So right underneath the volleyball, we'll say const Cores equals require Cores. Oops, Cores, like that. All right, cool. And then the last thing we want to do is right underneath our, right as soon as we initialize a new Express app, we're going to enable Cores. So we'll say app.use and pass in Cores and make sure we invoke it inside of there as well. And that'll basically allow Cores to be used. So now we should be able to send that request and get a response proper now. So let's send it back over. I might have to refresh because it errored out, I think. But it looks like it inserted it. So it looks like it went through. We can actually confirm that by opening up our Robo T3 software for looking at our, excuse me, and looking at our database. Unfortunately, I can't make this font any bigger on this, but I'll just look really quick. So collections, users, and we should have right here, Rabbit1. Cool. It's in there and it's working. We registered a new user. Awesome. Okay. So where are we at with time? We're at 55 minutes. Okay. So what we want to do, let's see, where are we at with the, I'm going to open up the index.js. And then this is, okay. So this is res.jsoning the added user. And then and then Joshua actually had a suggestion for when we're signing our JSON Web Tokens that we should, instead of passing in the entire added user, we should probably just pass in like added user.email and like added user.firstname, just so it's not such a large object being sent in, or signed into it. So I'm going to do that really quick as well in here. So under the JSON Web Token.sign function, instead of just passing in the whole added users object, we're going to pass in just the first name and the email of that. We don't want to do his password because if somebody decodes the JSON Web Token, then it's sitting in there. But, well, I guess, I don't know. I guess that would be, they would need the secret to decode the token, but. So we are in fact res.jsoning back the added user and our token. So we should take, let's see, come back into our register view. And this fetch request, we should, because it's going to return, well, it'll be returning a promise. So we should handle that. And then that should be able to give us our user information, or that got added into the database, and our token, and we should be able to store that in like local storage. So let's give that a shot. Let's just say .then response. Actually, you know what? I think we'll do it in async instead of using a promise here. Well, I don't know. We'll go through and refactor to async after. So we'll just do promises for now, and then we can go back and refactor to async await. Especially when we go switch over to using Vuex to run these requests and stuff like that. So .then we'll say response, and that's an arrow function. We'll say Let's just see what it's giving us. Console.log response. Yeah. Response, and then let's also give ourselves a .catch just in case we get an error. We can catch the error and send that to the console as well for now. Cool. ID is for Mongo. ID for Mongo is good too. Oh yeah, that would make sense. We could do, because we do get, well, actually we don't have the, or wait, I'm confused. I gotta switch context. Yeah, so added user would have the, let's actually do that. I like that better than sending in like personal information like that. Let's do added user dot underscore ID, because that's a property that gets automatically generated by MongoDB for any type of entry into oh, I closed RoboT3, but when we get this response back here next, when we register a new user here, we'll take a look at the ID, and that's something that's generated by Mongo to be able to easily target different entries in the database. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so let's give this a shot. Let's register another user, rabbit2. Send that off. Okay, so response type, oh, what's happened here? Register one, internal service error failed. Type cores, internal service error. Oh, my server crashed. Shoot. Expected payload to be a plain object. Oh, excuse me. I think, do I just have to set it as an object like that? Or, oh, it's so loud. Why? Go away, sounds. What was that from anyways? How do I turn on streamer mode? I think it was F2. 2? I don't know. Oh, I closed it. And sorry people. Hold on, give me 1 second. I just want to close this so it's muted at least, so it's not making noise. That stuff's loud as hell. There we go. Very loud coming out of these headphones. Let me turn that down. Jeez Louise. Okay. So, how do we get this then? We just need to go like this. Oops. ID. And fix that. Added user.id. Okay, so now it should give us no. Do I have to restart my server? Your username already exists. Oh, it did get added, but it's just erroring out on the response. So because it gets added and then it errors out right here, so it already gets added. So okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's try with rabbit3, and we are getting a status code of 200. Woo! Cool. So if we look at the body here, we should have a readable stream that we're going to have to JSON.parse, right? If we wanted to use that. Yeah, so we'll do where is it? Back in the register view. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so console log response. So if we say, oh, hold on a second. we got to do response.json. I'm sorry, response.json, just like that. That should be able to pull it out. Not inside of that though. Okay, so response.json, and then we want to do the next dot then, so we can get the data out of it. And now, if we console log the data, we should be able to see our information. All right, one more time, rabbit4. Register. All right, cool. So there we go. We got our information here, we got our added user, and we also have our token. So now what we want to do is we're almost done getting that into the stuff, or into our front end, back into our front end. So instead of console logging it, we're going to actually set it to local storage, and we can say simply local storage dot set item. And that is so it's a function that takes two parameters. The first parameter, they're both strings. First parameter is going to be the key of the item, and then the second parameter will be the value of the item. So we can say user, and then the second one we want to say, I think we have to stringify it again. JSON.stringify, because it needs to be a string, and right now it's an object, so we need to restringify it to store it in the thing. I wonder if we could just no, we wouldn't be able to just bypass that because we need to pull it out of the body. So okay, JSON.stringify the data dot added user, like that. Cool. And then the other thing we want to do is we're going to add this token into the local storage. So for this one, we can just say local storage dot token, I believe, right? And just pass in the token for it. Is it local storage? All right, how to save token URI. I thought token had. I thought you could save token res.json, do another dot then to get. Oh, okay, yeah. How old is this? Oh, this is 4 years ago. Shoot. Please stop Yuki using local storage. Okay, well, I thought there was local storage.token, and you just pass in the token here, or it would be data.token. We'll see, and if it doesn't work, we'll just do it the other way. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Yeah, okay. Let's see what happens. All right, Sean, rabbitworks, rabbit5, ASD123, in case anybody's wondering. Register. Oh, local storage.token is not a function. Okay. Looks like we got to do set item. And this is going to be. This one is already a string, so we can just keep that as so, but we'll just do token like that. Oh, oops, not colon, comma. All right, cool. All right, let's take a look and see if that works. Rabbit6. Can't do spaces. It's not a valid username, bruh. Not a valid username, bruh. Register. Okay, so let's take a look. We didn't get any errors. That's probably a good thing. Let's go into, not memory, I think it's application. Yeah, okay, so cool. We have it in there. So we have our user and our token. Awesome. So now, like, what we'll do with this is that when we make subsequent requests in our application, like say we have like a dashboard or something, or like a, like user interface that we're logging into, for each subsequent request that we make that's not either to log in or response, I mean, we'll want to check on every request so that it doesn't get, if they do navigate to register or log in and they are logged in already, then it will like navigate them to the the home page instead of those pages. But we basically are going to check inside of the router when we navigate it to certain routes that we are in fact logged in based on the token and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this session. If you want to check out the code, I'm going to push it as soon as I'm done here. And then definitely go check out Coding Garden with CJ's channel and check out the original project. Again, the link is in the description, and I believe he's working on a new project that's kind of along the same lines as this one, a little bit newer, up-to-date code and stuff. So it was pretty cool. Excuse me. Am I forgetting anything here? So yeah, like I said, we'll extract this fetch request and all that stuff out to Vuex when we get to that point. And we'll also want to, we're going to take these inputs and whatnot, and we're going to componentize them so we can reuse them, excuse me, in our login route as well, our login view as well. So, okay, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Live Coding with Rabbitwerks JavaScript. My name's Sean. It's been a pleasure to be with you this evening. Make sure to check out the code. Best way to get a hold of me if you have any questions is the Rabbitwerks Discord, which the link is in the description below. And React, Joshua has his React version pushed. So I'm actually going to share that in the chat before we go because yeah. Okay, so here is Joshua. He is he's following along in this project, building it in React. Okay, cool. So excellent, dude. Thanks for sharing that, and I will push the code up and you can be able to check it out right away. Actually, let's just do that right now really quick. Screw. Let's see. Let's go to terminal 1 here. Let's make a new branch. So get checkout -b, and it's going to be afs-c-02. Submit register user. Okay, cool. We'll do that. We'll do git add all, and I'm gonna have to push the back end as well tonight. Push the back end up because we have some modifications in there. And git add all. Okay, so did that, and we want to git commit -m update finished submit fetch request to /register route storing user data and token in ls. Cool. Git push -u origin and afs-c-02. Oh, okay. Oop. All right, so my repositories, and I will send this code over as well. So go ahead and check out Joshua's React version, and you can go ahead and check out the latest code from tonight's session, and also I will push the node.js stuff as well. So yeah, okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. It'll probably be Thursday again, depending on stream times and plans. Oh, wait a second. What is this Thursday? Thursday is the 17th. Okay, so I thought they switched the Vue Minnesota meetup or Vue MN meetup to an earlier date, but I think it is scheduled for the 24th. Which, if that's the case, I'm probably going. I think if I recall correctly, I'm going to be doing a talk on the Vue directives, writing custom directives. So more than likely, because I don't have a laptop right now, I'm just going to bring my rig in with a monitor and just do it there. And more than likely, I could probably live stream it if that's the case. So that would be super cool. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to definitely try and make that happen. If I am correct and I'm doing the custom directives talk and stuff. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, we'll see you soon. Remember to stay awesome, keep coding, have a good night. We'll see you later. Have a good week. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Sharp out, or rabbitwerks out.